What leverage did President Trump gain for negotiating the border wall by reopening the government for 21 days? Has the nature of the border security debate changed? And what is going to happen when the president's offer expires on February 15th? This is American Thought Leaders, and I'm Jakielek. Today we sit down with Jason Meister, a Trump 2020 campaign advisory board member, who also was on the Trump 2016 campaign, to talk about border security. Let's get a few things out of the way. It's been said that President Trump somehow, by reopening the government, has lost the battle on this issue. Would you say that's accurate?
I don't think that there could be anything further from the truth. I think that President Trump is a negotiator. He understands how to make deals. And this is a very strategic position that he's taken. He's effectively taken the leverage away from the Democrats. They were using furloughed federal employees as leverage. And by reopening the government and paying those employees for the next 3 weeks, he's effectively taken away the Democrats' leverage. And now it's on the Democrats to come to the table in a meaningful way and finally do something that both politicians on both sides of the aisle have yet to do: secure our border and protect Americans, put Americans first. It's a humanitarian crisis, and it's a national security crisis, and the president is not going to let it happen. He's going to protect our border, and I think the Democrats are going to have to come to the table.
So you mentioned, national security crisis, that there is a crisis. Some people have called this a manufactured crisis. What would you say to that?
It's not a manufactured crisis. I mean, even Democrats have admitted over decades. I mean, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, they've all articulated at one point or another that they were for a physical barrier at the border. There is no manufactured crisis. Go speak to the mothers and fathers of people who've lost their children to illegal immigrants who murdered them. Talk to the people who have family members that have drug problems because of opioids and because of fentanyl and all sorts of other drugs that have come over the border. Ask parents of people who have been affected by MS-13, the gangs that have been coming over the border. So it's not a manufactured issue. It's an issue that's been going on for decades, and it has to be dealt with.
So, it's also been said that the president is somehow isolationist, that he's actually against immigration. How does that work?
Yeah, this is a common thing that we see in our media today. It's unfortunate. There's really no reporting anymore of the news. They're all activists, and they're all putting out their own narrative. And it's very unfortunate because President Trump has articulated time and time again that he's talking about illegal immigration. He's not talking about legal immigration. We are a country founded by legal immigrants, and we rely on legal immigrants, okay? But they come over to the border legally. And you could look at the polls. Everyone believes in having legal immigration. So when the New York Times or the Washington Post put out reports about the president is against immigration, it's just not true. He's against illegal immigration, not legal immigration.
So maybe you can reiterate the president's position on DACA. How does that work?
Look, I think that with regards to DACA, it's obvious that President Trump has made some gestures to the Democrats that he's willing to negotiate with them so that we can finally secure our border. It's something that we have to do. And so he's been willing to negotiate with them on DACA in exchange for a border wall. And if you look at places along the border where a physical barrier has been built, it's reduced illegal immigration by nearly 90%.
What are the costs actually of illegal immigration? Can you outline them first? Are there any benefits to illegal immigration for the country?
To illegal immigration?
Yes, to illegal immigration.
There are no benefits. It's actually been a huge burden on the middle class in this country. And I think that from a globalist perspective, I understand why they would want illegal immigration, cheap labor, et cetera. But from the middle class Americans, the hardworking Americans that basically elected President Trump, those people are the ones that are most negatively affected by illegal immigration. And the president look, you are not a country if you don't secure your borders. It's that simple. This isn't brain surgery. This is common sense. And President Trump is not going to allow this country to have unsecured borders anymore.
What do you make of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer's seeming absolute opposition to any border structure, and their position in the past, as you mentioned earlier, especially Schumer's, about having some sort of structure.
It's very obvious from the beginning of this whole negotiation and the government shutdown that the Democrats have decided that they will not allow President Trump to have a wall. Why? Because they know that it's one of his most important issues that he's campaigned on in 2016, and they know that if they give away the ability for border security and a wall, it's going to be a sure bet that President Trump is reelected in 2020. So it's all politics with them. It is all political games and maneuvering. And for President Trump, it's about the American people. It's about securing the border. It's about doing something that for decades haven't been done by Democrats or Republicans. Look, President Trump is a pragmatist. He's a problem solver. That's who we elected. He's a businessman from New York City, a real estate developer who understands how to build things and build things on time and under budget. And he's going to build the wall.
So, it's also been said that there's some technology solutions that don't require a physical structure to reduce illegal immigration and, the basically cross-border crime and so forth. What about that?
I think we have to do all of the above. I don't think it's one thing or another thing. For sure, we need a physical barrier. Walls work. Look at Israel. Look at the places on the southern border where there is a physical barrier, as I said earlier to you, cutting illegal immigration down by nearly 90%. So it's all of the above. Every technology we should be looking at, physical barriers. We need to have secure borders, and we need to have legal immigration.
You mentioned something about there could be a kind of a benefit from the perspective of a globalist vision to this picture. Can you unpackage that for us a little bit?
Sure. I think that the way I look at immigration, or any issue for that matter, it's how do we make America safer? How do we make America better? And unfortunately, on the immigration issue, the left and the liberals actually ask a different question. They don't ask what makes America safer or what makes America better. They actually ask what's better for the immigrant or what's better for the country that the immigrant is immigrating from. And that is where the problem lies.
Can you outline for me what you see as the costs, aside from the actual illegal immigration, but the costs to having an open or a very porous border?
Look, for decades our borders were effectively Swiss cheese, holes through the border. And it took jobs away from the middle class Americans. It brought drugs over the border, gangs. You see that crime was up significantly. So I think that those are the issues that we have to think about when we're protecting our border.
You actually wrote a recent op-ed I saw in Town Hall where you're talking about how the furloughed American government workers are being used as a kind of a bargaining chip or as a tool of some sort, for a political tool. Can you expand on that, please?
Sure. So when this government shutdown began, the Democrats immediately ran to their corner and said that President Trump shut the government down and effectively is preventing families from getting paid. And it's going to prevent them from paying their mortgages and feeding their children. And so they basically took the furloughed employees and used it as leverage and pressure against the administration in an effort to prevent him from getting border security. And by reopening the government last week and paying those employees, President Trump has strategically taken away the Democrats' leverage. For the next 3 weeks, it's now on them, okay? The ball's in their court. They need to come to the table in a meaningful way. And we're gonna see as Americans if they're really honest and true about wanting to protect the border.
So let's say, we hit February 15th and there's no deal. What happens?
So if the Democrats actually don't produce any type of bargaining regarding the border security and a physical barrier, the president has said many times that he will do whatever he has to do. And one of the things that he can do is he can declare a national emergency and he can siphon off funds to build the physical barrier that we need, that we so desperately need. And President Trump isn't going to allow Democrats to obstruct something this important to the American people as securing the border, securing our country.
In your mind, what would be, the best outcome? We have this, 3-week time period of negotiation, or in theory negotiation, that you're describing. What would be the ideal outcome in your mind?
Sure, I think the ideal outcome is that if the Democrats decide that they don't want to play the political games that they've been playing, okay, and they come to the realization that just as they did in the past many times, Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, you've seen the videos, they're all out there, because that stuff doesn't leave the internet. They've said time and time again that we need a physical barrier. So if they put the political gamesmanship aside and they come to the table in a meaningful way, and they put Americans first and border security first over politics, that would be the best outcome. And we get a little bit of what they're asking for, and we put up a wall. We have a safe border, and we have legal immigration, not illegal immigration.
So you seem pretty passionate about this issue. Why?
I have children, and I'm a father, and just like the president is trying to put America first, I put my family first. And this is an important issue, not just today, but it's for decades into the future. And I want my children to grow up in a safe country, in a country that, by the way, there's the rule of law. How about that? I mean, we're a country of laws. We're a country of borders. We're a country of laws. There's no reason to break laws, to have illegal immigration. We can have legal immigration, just as we've had for decades. And we need to protect our laws. We need to protect our children for the future.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks
Wonderful.
for having me.